Is it reasonable and then acceptable such foolish holes by such foolish doctors in the ears of the females, whom are just papers, just being poor right now, for hanging earrings in their ears, saying that this is the beauty, saying that those papers will feel no pains because they are just papers, saying also that this is the beauty, while of course this is not the beauty at all. Simply because such our beautiful lover God simply explained to us that his beautiful real aim behind start creating is such this beautiful aim of love, specifically such this beautiful aim of getting each creature to know his creator as a beautiful lover God, as a real existence, as a beautiful lover God, as a real existence. And that's why such a beautiful lover God generously, and that's why such a beautiful lover God aimed generously loving each creature and making also each creature respectfully and gratefully loves him as well, by such a proper way of worshipping, meaning the religion, meaning such respectful and grateful thanking by the whole beautiful moralities, meaning such a beautiful, such respectful and grateful thanking while you are beautifying yourself by the whole beautiful moralities. And that's why such a beautiful lover God simply explained to us the whole beautiful moralities by dividing it into two parts: all what have to be properly done by the real lover, to be followed by the real lover, and all what have not to be properly done, and all what have not to be properly done, to be avoided by the real lover. If the real lover really wants to prove his real love to such his beautiful lover God, as such his beautiful lover God properly proved his real love to the creature as well, by the proper way, in such a proper image, in such a proper image of bestowing happiness to the creature, by bestow graces, uncountable, bestow proving happiness by uncountable, bestow proving graces that must all totally be considered by the creature as his own beautiful paradise building, meaning as his own eternal and complete happiness building, as a complete proving building upon the truth that it is undoubtedly the truth, meaning as a complete proving building upon such our beautiful love God real existence, and his as well beautiful real aim behind start creating, which is the aim of love. So, as such a beautiful lover God simply explained to us that that was his beautiful real aim behind start creating. Therefore, if such foolish holes in the female's ears mean beauty, all females would be born with such holes in their ears. Therefore, such those foolish holes made by foolish doctors mean no beauty at all, but mean foolishness of not only the foolish doctors, but also the foolishness of all people who support this foolish behavior. Finally, doctors are simply like any kind of people in any field. Some of them are good, while some other are foolish. And of course, the main reason behind being a rational, happy person or foolish, unhappy person is simply the proper understanding of the truth directly from the message that's sent to us from such our beautiful lover God contains the whole details of the whole truth. As a matter of fact, and such a beautiful lover God, of course, explained to us that it is only one way you can follow for properly understand the whole truth by the proof that it is undoubtedly the truth. It is only such way of carefully read the message with the honest intention from the beginning to properly understand as such you beautiful love of God want you to understand. And of course, such honest intention is a gift from the beginning from such a beautiful love of God to his lovers. What I'm just trying to say here in this detailed explanation is, if it is a proper word that it must be said here in this detailed explanation, and as we can obviously see such a beautiful love of God simply explain to us that the more you will carefully read the message, the more you will properly understand the truth more and more, reaching to properly understand the whole truth, which will get you at the same time to know your own beautiful paradise building, meaning your own eternal and complete happiness building as a complete proving building upon the truth that it is undoubtedly the truth, meaning as a complete proving building upon such a beautiful love of God real existence, and He's as well beautiful real aim behind start creating, which is the aim of love. So as we can obviously see, we are trying to carefully read the message of such a beautiful love of God. We are trying to carefully read the message more and more for properly understanding the message more and more, for winning more and more happiness, for knowing the truth as a whole, which will include getting us at the same time to know the whole happiness, the complete happiness, which means the paradise to each one, the paradise of each one of us, the own paradise of each one of us. So I'm also trying to summarize to you as much as I can all what I can properly understand, so that we can share it all together for winning more and more happiness. Anyway, without wasting the time, what I'm just trying to say in this detailed explanation is, I just to focus, and we mentioned that before, but I just would like to focus such a beautiful love of God, a part of the proper way with which such a beautiful love of God gets us to properly understand the truth. A part of this way is repeating. Such a beautiful love of God is always repeating to us. So never mind if we repeat from time to time. So what I'm just trying to focus here in this detailed explanation is some of our teacher could properly understand the message and left to us a beautiful inheritance of proper understanding, while other teachers, other people, fathers, mothers, grandfathers, grandmothers, and so on, while some other people couldn't properly understand the message, they misunderstand the message, they misunderstood the message, and then they left to us an inheritance of misunderstanding. So of course we will respectfully and gratefully thank our beautiful teachers who left to us such a beautiful inheritance of proper understanding, while we will forgive those teachers or those people who left to us such inheritance of misunderstanding, because of course we will excuse them, because they were, for example, they didn't have the internet that we have nowadays. And of course the internet is a big grace from such a beautiful love of God that makes us, of course, nowadays to read the previous understanding to the message and the next understanding to the message, read the previous and next, read more and more understanding to the message of such a beautiful love of God, read the understanding by the previous people, and read another understanding by the next people, and then we can make a comparison so that we can choose the proper understanding that can be properly understood from such that beautiful love of God, who simply explained to us that we must never ever permit ourselves to understand anything improper from Him. It's such a beautiful love of God Himself who taught to us in the message how to properly understand from Him. It is He, such a beautiful love of God, it is He Himself who taught to us that, who taught and told us that the happiness, He made the happiness in our chest, He made the happiness in our chest, the comfortability in our chest. He made this feeling of comfortability and happiness in our chest as a norm, as a proof upon that we are properly understanding as He wants us to understand. So it is He Himself who, it is such a beautiful love of God Himself who simply explained to us that the more you will feel comfortability by the reasonability while you are carefully read the message, the more you must be sure that you are properly understanding from such a beautiful love of God as He wants you to understand. So it is such a beautiful love of God Himself who put the norm, who put the proof upon with which I can know if I am properly understand from such my beautiful love of God as He wants me to properly understand or not. What is the proof? It is happiness. It is such feeling of happiness, such feeling of comfortability by the reasonability, because such the verses, the message of such a beautiful love of God, meaning the verses of such that sent to us from such a beautiful love of God, is a reasonable words. So that's why such a beautiful love of God. So just take a look. Pay attention. Just pay attention to how such a beautiful love of God made His verses to us reasonable, so that we can feel comfortability by such this reasonability, so that we can be sure that we are properly understanding from such a beautiful love of God as He wants us to understand, not as anyone else to want us to understand. So I just wanted to focus in this detailed explanation upon that. We will respectfully, we will of course respectfully and gratefully thank those beautiful teachers who left to us such beautiful inheritance of proper understanding from such a beautiful love of God, and from which we could learn how to properly understand from such a beautiful love of God. How could from which we learn how could we properly understand such a proper understanding that it must be properly understood from such that beautiful love of God. So of course we will respectfully and gratefully thank all our beautiful teachers who left to us such beautiful inheritance of properly understanding the message, from which we learn how to properly understand the message. Really, we will still respectfully and gratefully thank them for such this beautiful inheritance of proper understanding they left to us. While we will forgive other teachers or other people who left to us such inheritance of misunderstanding, because we knew that they misunderstood the message. They couldn't properly understand the message, and that's why when they were trying to properly imply, they couldn't properly imply such happiness of message in all the aspects of their life. So that's why they So that's why when they misunderstood the message, and that's why when they were trying to imply the message, they made mistakes, big mistakes. They made big mistakes, and they made disasters. For example, they were punishing each other by the name of God, saying that our beautiful love of God legislated the punishment, while such a beautiful love of God simply explained to us that he never aimed any kind of punishment to any creature. Such a beautiful love of God simply explained to us, as we can obviously see, such a beautiful love of God simply explained to us that that the main reason, the main aim behind start creating by such a beautiful love of God is such this beautiful real aim of love. And that's why such a beautiful love of God never aimed any punishment to any creature at all. So of course some people misunderstood the message and they made big mistakes. They were punishing each other, they were made disasters. We will forgive them because for example, they didn't have such internet. They couldn't read more understanding and made a comparison between both of them, reaching to the proper understanding that can be understood from such a beautiful love of God. So we will excuse them, we will forgive them, and it's over. And we must also say that all our respectful and grateful to such a beautiful love of God who presented to us such a grace of internet that permit us to read more and more understanding, so that we can then select the proper understanding that it can be understood from such that beautiful love of God. That for this detailed explanation. Another detailed explanation I would like to talk about, which is another detailed explanation which will lead us to more proper understanding to the truth, as such a beautiful love of God wants us to understand it, so that we can then win more and more happiness. For the story of our messenger Abraham, there are some details in this story. Such a beautiful love of God pay our attention to some lessons, some things, some details in this story. For example, our messenger Abraham was alone as a real lover, surrounded by, and all around him were disbelievers. They were against him. They were disbelieving in such a beautiful love of God as a real existence. So they foolishly decided to get revenge from the Abraham. They foolishly decided to punish our messenger Abraham. They foolishly decided to put him in the fire. They put him in the fire from 5 days. Some narrations said 5 days. Some other narrations said 10 days. Anyway, they put him in the fire more than 5 days. 5 days or more. The point here is, after 5 days, our messenger Abraham came out from the fire. And our messenger Abraham told that the most beautiful, happy 5 days that he lived in his life, those were those 5 days that he was staying in the fire. Why? Because he told, our messenger Abraham told that such his beautiful love of God changed the fire into the paradise, especially for him, because he is a real lover, a real believer, who undoubtedly believe in such his beautiful love of God as a real existence. So such a beautiful love of God. Pay our attention here that Abraham was just a lesson. And such a beautiful love of God, such a beautiful love of God, will it change? Such a beautiful love of God, such a beautiful love of God, pay our attention to that. Such a beautiful love of God can be able to change any fire to the paradise, to any other real lover other than Abraham. So that's it. So the story of our messenger Abraham was just a lesson. Like more and more lessons that such a beautiful love of God teaching to us through the message. So this is number one. Number two, another point in this detailed explanation, which is the disbeliever, such a beautiful love of God, pay our attention that the disbelievers can never ever at all see the truth, can never ever at all see the reality. The disbeliever at the day of Abraham were seeing a fire, while that was not the reality. The reality was the paradise that our messenger Abraham was living in, was being happy in it, by enjoying by more and more graces, the most beautiful graces of shelter, food, drink, and other beautiful graces. For 5 days he was being happy by more and more beautiful graces in this paradise. So this is the reality. That was the reality. While the disbelievers, so that the reality, so the disbelievers were seeing the fire, and the fire not the reality, was not the reality. While the reality was a paradise that our messenger Abraham was living in, was being happy in, enjoying was happy by enjoying by graces in this paradise.